Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you. There is not a day that goes by that I don't hear from some of my lovely subscribers reaching out for help because they are going through some very difficult times in their lives. Let me know in a comment below what you have been going through, or maybe it's a loved one that's been struggling, whether it's something that you might deem rather insignificant, or maybe it's something very traumatic. I've heard from people that have had loved ones that they had to say goodbye to because of the reprehensible and, let's just say, fatal treatment that their loved one got in the hospital. I've heard people who have lost their jobs, who have lost their income. I have people who are writing to me because they have lost relationships. They have strained relationships with their either their spouse or their children or other extended family members. I know that there are a number of lovely followers here who are suffering with physical maladies, and my heart goes out to each and every one of you who is struggling. And I am no stranger to struggles myself. In fact, I'm something of an expert when it comes to grieving and loss because I have had a significant number of losses over my life. And I want to give you 5 steps. These don't have to be done really in any particular order, but these are 5 things that I thought about today in bringing you this program. I wanted to be helpful and offer solutions and also be sympathetic, because sometimes you just need to let your sorrows be sorrows. In fact, I have a video called exactly that: let your sorrows be sorrows. And that's going to bring me up to number 1 of the first thing that I do myself when I am suffering, struggling. In fact, I want to talk about the word suffer because I want to help you remove added suffering from your already existing pain, and I'll explain what that means in just a moment. But the very first thing that I have found helpful in situations where I am faced with loss, grief, overwhelm, tragedy, pain, is I actually strive to just acknowledge it and allow it and say to myself, this is what I'm going through. This is not how I want things to be. I wish things were different, but I'm just going to acknowledge that right now, this is my reality. And the reason why I start with that awareness and acceptance of what is because that leads us to this complicated situation where when we are fighting against reality, we add on suffering on top to the already existing pain. So I have a loved one right now that is experiencing a broken bone, and it is very distressing. It literally puts a kink in the works because you're trying to get things done. And I had a broken foot some years ago, and I remember how, and I'll tell you a little side story to that, but I remember how much I was frustrated with my scenario and how I was really angry at myself for having that result of a broken foot, even though it was an accident and there really wasn't anything I could have done to change that. But leading up to that, I'll tell you, I don't know if I brought it upon myself or what, but leading up to my broken foot a few years ago, I saw several people, hang on just one second. Yeah, thanks for closing that. I saw several people on those little scooters, where you put your knee on the scooter and then you wheel yourself around like you're on a skateboard or something. And oh, Lord, forgive me. But in the back of my mind, I was like, what is wrong with people? How can they be so careless that they end up on a scooter with a, cast on their foot? And there were people that I knew in different places. Somebody actually had surgery, and so they had to have a cast on their foot while it was healing. And they're going around on a scooter. This is long before the hogwash started, when you could still go out to parties and everything. And I was at a birthday party, and for a friend of a friend, and I saw somebody on a scooter, and the same thing. I'm like, oh, why am I seeing all these people on scooters? What is going on? Whatever happened to good old fashioned crutches? And I was sort of scoffing at this. And seriously, within a month, I was on a scooter myself. So just a word of warning. And I don't know if I manifested that, if I was focusing on it, or maybe I knew there was something in my own knowing or something that I had to be more careful. Anyway, I ended up with a broken foot. I actually there was a little broken piece of a sidewalk where I caught the edge of my foot and I went completely down. It was the 5th metatarsal. Let me know if you ever had a broken foot. Oh my gosh, that hurts so much. By the way, stick with me till the end of the broadcast, because I do want to bring to you some good news and some ways that you can heal and feel better and take care of yourself and do something good for yourself. So stay tuned for that, because that was one of the ways that I started to heal. Number one, I acknowledged what I was going through. And I remember saying to myself, okay, for 48 hours, I am going to be as careful as possible. After I got home from the hospital and they put a cast on it, I knew that in the very, very beginning, this is what was really going to help with my healing. So I acknowledged what, at the time, what was. I acknowledged the reality. I accepted it. I wish it had been different. I was frustrated that I had broken my foot. I wish I had gone a different route, or I had looked where I was going, all of those things. But adding on those questions such as, why me? Why this? Why now? This isn't fair. It shouldn't have happened to me. Why wasn't I more careful? All of those added, beratings only make the situation worse, in my opinion, or worst, as I like to say, worst is worse than worse. And that is a type of added suffering already onto your existing pain of the reality of what you're going through. Trust me, I know that those phrases come up, those questions come up. It's actually good to get it off your chest. And that is one. So these next tips that I have for you are kind of interrelated. Let me just refer to my notes here for a second. So the first tip is to simply acknowledge what is. Be in your reality. In fact, as I strangely embraced this broken foot of mine, I thought, you know what? This is a time for my body to heal. I can't be up and about. I am unable to go to my classes right now. I want to take a couple of days off, and I'm going to read a book, and I'm going to watch a movie, and I'm going to allow myself to be pampered. I am going to not just acknowledge, but I'm going to embrace what it is that I'm going through. And you may say, Peggy, there you go again. It sounds all fine and well, but I'm talking about losing a job. How can I embrace that? How can I embrace my loss of income? How can I embrace the loss of a loved one that died so tragically? You have no idea what I'm going through. And you're absolutely right. I don't have any idea what you're going through, because your pain and your loss is individual, unique. And I want to validate it. I want to recognize it. And I want you to validate it and recognize it and actually claim it. Claim how horrible it is. Claim how devastating this is for you. Don't brush it under the carpet. This is the time for you to squarely acknowledge the reality of what you're going through. So I'm encouraging you to do that exact same thing. The second step, and this is the difficult one, which is where you separate the reality of what you're going through, plus all of the added commentary and opinion and questions and guilt and remorse. Those are natural, understandable feelings, but when we get stuck in those emotions, it can cause greater pain that actually prevents us from grieving what is. It's almost as if all of our emotions and energy now get directed into the, why did I let that happen? I shouldn't have done that. Why me? Why them? Why this? Why now? That is a type of emotional drain that, in my opinion, is a distraction from the true issue at hand, which is grieving your loss. Let me know if this is something that you're interested in going through a program with my help, along with Pastor David, where we give you support as you are navigating life after loss. It could be loss of a loved one, loss of a job, financial scenario. It could be the loss of a home, the loss of your health, just the loss of life as you knew it, with everything that we went through over the last few years. We all have had losses to some degree. I encourage you to consider and listen to these phrases in your mind, such as, why didn't I know better? I shouldn't have done it this way. I could have done this. I could have done that. This is a type of use of your energy that is actually going to delay your healing. And I want you to really look at this, because some among us want to punish ourselves for the scenario. We don't want to begin the healing process. We feel that for some reason we were complicit in this scenario, and we are going to beat ourselves up over it until it changes. Friends, your reality of what is not going to change by you beating yourself up over it. Here's what's going to help. Okay. Number one, you face the reality. Number two, you extricate all of those other sufferings that you pile upon yourself. And you know, it's, as I say, many of us do that. It's understandable. It is a way of distracting from our pain. But if you can be aware of that and maybe put those questions, you know, I like to use a journal, write those questions in a journal, set them aside, pray about them, and determine that you are not going to obsess over them. When you catch yourself with that, you want to substitute those horrible, unending questions with a truthful statement that you can divert your attention to. For example, at least my loved one knows how much I love them, or I'm glad that I had 25 years with that person, or I'm grateful now that I still, let's say you lost your job, but I'm grateful that I still have my home, or you lost your home. I'm grateful that I still have my health. If you can find one of these truthful statements to stand on, that can be your platform, that can be your foundation, so that you're not going to be swept away in the river of pain. And if you willingly dive into that river of pain, just know that you're doing it. I've done that myself in times of grieving. It's like, you know, I'm going in. I am going in, and I'm just going to go into that river of pain. I'm going to let it sweep me away. And when I get to the other side, I'm going to rest and recognize that I needed to go through that process. Just be aware is what I'm getting at here. Number 3 out of my 5 tips to get through this, whatever your this is. This is one of the most important. It's one of the most overlooked, and that is the simple act of taking care of yourself. I understand, especially in times of grief, that taking care of yourself is the last thing on your mind. I remember early on in my life having a devastating loss, and I didn't even want to take a shower for days. I didn't want to change my clothes. I didn't want to change anything that would signify what my life was before this tragedy and what my life was after this tragedy. So I didn't want to change anything. And I had a loving family member tell me, Peggy, you're not going to be able to heal emotionally until you take care of your physical self. So take a shower, change your clothes, get something to eat. And again, I was in a state of mind of complete, utter soul anguish. Nothing mattered in my life whatsoever. No shower, no changing my clothes, no food, no sleep, nothing other than my pain. But I will tell you that the day I took that shower and I changed my clothes, my pain was still there. My loss was still there. The reality of that tragedy still was there, but I was able to actually grieve because I now was taking those little baby steps to start to take care of myself. I understand, and this could be an entire book. I know books have been written about the grief of the survivor, of the person who is still alive, the person who didn't have those tragedies happen to them. Maybe you can relate to this, where somebody you know had something happen to them, and here you are still standing. And for some reason, we feel guilty, or I think that's normally the word that people use. Sometimes there's a remorse of, gosh, you know, they had it so bad, and who am I to feel good when they have it so bad? Your personal suffering, your neglect of yourself is not going to help anyone else in their situation. In fact, it's going to make it worse, as I say. If you take care of yourself, you personally will be able to be a person of support to those who need it. You'll be able to be a support to yourself. You'll be able to continue to carry out your life, and ideally share the gifts and talents that God has imbued you with. For some reason, he wanted you to go through this. And there are videos I've done in the past about growing through your hardship, about coming out the other side. But today I'm really talking more about first aid, like how to get through this right now. So think of ways that you can take care of yourself. It may be that you just need to sleep. You may need to pull the covers up over your head and turn the lights out and sleep 10, 12 hours a day. Emotional events take such a toll on our physical energy. Sometimes people have the exact opposite, where they have so much adrenaline and cortisol from fear and anxiety and nervousness. They have a nervous energy that doesn't allow them to sleep, where they're cleaning the house and cleaning out the sock drawer and rearranging the furniture because there's so much what is called nervous energy. So sometimes we have the two extremes of this, presentation of our inner world. So think about what it is you need to do to take care of yourself. Maybe this is the time where you're not going to cook. Maybe you're just going to have food ordered in, or maybe you're going to go out and have a nice meal at a restaurant. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you can have a friend or someone bring food into you. This is the time where you may want to watch some funny movies. There you go again, Peggy, making light of my losses. What in the world? How can I be watching a funny movie at a time like this? This is very wise advice that I got from a caring person years ago, who said, the more trauma you've experienced, the more funny movies, puppy dogs, and rainbows you need to experience. In other words, you, more than others who haven't been suffering these losses, you need to lighten the load. You need to take a break emotionally. Laughter, doing something that you enjoy. And I realize you may not enjoy it at the 10 level that you normally do, because you're still hurting, you're still healing. Just like my broken foot. I couldn't walk on it or dance on it or put weight on it for months. And bit by bit, I was able, as time went on, to just explore a little bit more weight on that foot because I was healing. But I certainly didn't want to amputate my foot or never get out on that, walk on that foot again. I had to explore bit by bit. So take care of yourself in a way that matters to you. I just threw out some ideas. You may have something completely different. You may want to get a massage, a facial. You may want to take a couple days out, go camping. You may want to reorganize your closet, get new clothes, whatever it is for you. I'm going to tell you at the end of this broadcast what I did to take care of myself over the last 3 years of this hogwash, which was devastating for most of us, I would say, even if we didn't acknowledge it. All right, number 4, to get through this, it's very, very important that you get a witness. What do I mean by that? A witness is someone that can actually be with you, acknowledge what you're going through without trying to solve it, fix it, improve it, or give you the how-tos. That's the most important. This is not a person that's going to tell you, that's okay, it's all going to get better, you'll get over it, time will heal. No, 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 no. You want a person who will sit there and say, I'm so sorry. Maybe not say anything at all. They're going to listen to you, nod their head, maybe share some tears or some frustration or whatever emotions you're going through. It's so very important that you have someone that can validate and acknowledge what it is you're going through. Friends, this is a huge one for me. You may not realize it because I'm on these public videos, but I am a very private person. And when I go through my pain and my losses, I remember very clearly turning people away. I remember a lovely couple after my dad passed away saying, Peggy, come on, we're going out to eat. We'd love for you to join us. And I'm like, thinking, are you out of your mind? My dad died a week ago. How could I ever go out to eat again, ever? What do you mean go out to eat? This is what I'm thinking inside. And they were reaching out in a way that they thought would help me so that I wouldn't be alone and grieving and feeling sorry for myself. And I turned them down and I turned them away. And in hindsight, at the time, I thought that was the right thing to do. And again, you do what's right for you. There may be ebbs and flows where you certainly don't want to leave the house, and other times where it's the best thing for you to do, to not isolate. As it turns out, this lovely couple, I mean, they're lifelong friends, and they knew my dad, and it would have been likely very healing for me to go out, change the scenery, even reminisce about my dad, and just take a break from the heavy duty grieving. All of the grieving, all of the pain, all of the loss, all of the hardship is not going to bring about a change in your circumstances. If you had these losses, you acknowledge them, and then there is an opportunity to integrate them going forward. So no, I didn't expect that going out to dinner was going to wipe away all my pain. But going out to dinner wasn't going to change anything in terms of, it wasn't going to bring my dad back. So not sharing my pain with a witness, I believe, let me rephrase that. Sharing what you're going through with a caring witness can be a huge step on your path to healing. You'll feel that you're not alone, that there's somebody who gets it. You've actually voiced it. I also recommend writing it down, but writing it is one thing, speaking it is another. And you can tell your friend, listen, you don't need to try to make me feel better. I just need to get this off my chest. You don't need to give me any how-tos or, solutions here. I just want to share this with you. And my prayer is that you will have a friend like that. Maybe you can even find one in our chat here. We have our lovely, very supportive supporters here that can lend a helping hand, a shoulder to cry on as we speak about that. I had a lovely friend back in the day, and it was somebody that I could just literally cry on her shoulder with a giant bath towel to absorb all the tears. And she did not try to make me feel better. She did not say, it's okay. She was with me while I cried. You probably know that there's a little meme that goes around about a little boy who saw an elderly neighbor sitting outside looking very, very sad and bereft. And the little boy went over and sat with the neighbor. And when the little boy came back, the neighbor appeared to be looking better. And the mom said, oh, Tommy, what did you say to Mr. Jones? He looks better. And he said, oh, I didn't say anything. I just helped him cry. Okay, that's what we need. We need somebody who can just help us cry. Tears are the physical manifestation of sadness, of sorrow, of loss. Our society is constantly telling us, do not cry, do not share your emotions. Right? But, in anger, the manifestation of anger is usually physical as well. So I don't recommend putting your fists through any walls, but you can punch a pillow, you can go for some, angry exercise and get it out. But there is a physical manifestation of these emotions that needs to get out. So find a witness who can let your sorrows be sorrows. All right. Number 5, create something to look forward to. This is where I missed the boat previously with my caring couple who asked me to go out to dinner. And this is many years ago. And I've learned from that. And I realize now that for me to have something to look forward to, it gives me a reason to get up in the morning. When I had my broken foot, I spent that time looking forward to the day when I'd be back walking, doing my water exercise, riding my bike, walking my dog. I mean, I was not able to do any of that for a period of a few months. And I would think about that. I would imagine that. And even with the scooter, I did have things that I would look forward to. I did the luncheons. Let's not talk about me. Let's talk about you. Think about what you have to look forward to. It may be something that ideally, you don't even have to spend any money doing it. It could be daydreaming. You're thinking about maybe redecorating your bedroom, or maybe you finally want to get all your paperwork in order, or you're going to take that trip now that life is short, could change at any moment. So think about what it is that you can look forward to. It can be something as simple as a phone call with a friend later today. It could be watching another one of my videos. It could be fill in the blank with what you enjoy doing and have something to look forward to. I like to have something to look forward to every single week. And it might be, as I say, maybe you're going to get a massage, maybe you have a walk with a friend, a meal out at a special restaurant, maybe just spending time in nature. It doesn't have to cost a penny. So think about what you want to do, plan that into your time, and remember, you deserve that. Think about your loss and what it is that you want to get through. If it is a loss of a loved one, don't you imagine that they would want you to continue to heal? Don't you think that they would want you to make the most out of your life? Think about other things that you've been facing, whether it's financial, emotional, physical. I've spoken on this channel before about my eye surgeries, and it looks like I may be facing another one. So I value my vision, and I am very particular about what I allow my eyeballs to watch, which is why a lot of these movies that everybody's talking about, I don't go see them. I do not want that to enter my vessel, right? There are certain things that I know about that I don't visibly need to see, just like I'm not going to look at, animal abuse pictures or murder mysteries or whatever. I do not want that stuff into my vessel. I want to keep myself as pristine as possible. I think about that with the foods that I eat, with the things that I read, with the videos that I watch, with the music, which I don't, as you know, I don't like to listen to music, with the people that I speak to. And I want to carefully select, especially when we realize there are things that we have lost. Oh my gosh, what am I going to spend my money on? What am I going to spend my energy on? So think about going forward and really putting all of this together now. Acknowledge what is. Try to minimize the adding on of additional suffering with all of these, why me, why this, why now, I should have, I could have, I didn't. Take care of yourself in a way that makes sense for you. Get a caring witness that can help you through this. And then create something to look forward to and select these things carefully so that you're not going to be allowing things into your life that you really don't want. Now, let me end up, because I told you that I was going to share with you something that I hope you will want to have into your life. When I took stock of myself a year ago, just exactly a year ago, it had been, so that was 2022. So from 2020 and then to 2021 and then to 2022, that was 2 years of day in, day out, all day, every day, dedicating myself to freedom, truth, helping you and others navigate all of the hogwash that was sloshed all over us. I literally worked day in, day out. I mean, I probably slept 4 or 5 hours at the most for close to 2 years. I would go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, hit the ground running, answer emails, try to help people get through all of the hardships that they were facing. And I dedicated myself to that because I could see no other way of getting through all of this tyranny and oppression. And it really started to take a toll on me. All right. Not only was I neglecting my own household in terms of laundry, cleaning, cooking, shopping. Of course, a lot of that shopping wasn't really available to us in those first couple of years. So I did have a lot of things that were, ordered in and so forth. But I realized that I could not keep up this pace of working. It was going to end up with me being completely burnt out and of no value and help and service to others. So through prayer and contemplation and journaling and determining what was going to be right for me and you, those that I serve, I realized that I needed a complete overhaul on my life. And I did not like the way I looked. I didn't like the clothes I was wearing. I didn't like my surroundings. There were so many things that were intricately tied to the first 2 years of the hogwash. It was like PTSD. I didn't really want to be exposed to all of that again. So I underwent a complete overhaul. And I talked about this. I'm going to share my screen here. I talked about this in a program that you asked me for, and that is over here. Let me share my screen and let me know if you went through the program. It's called the Mind Body Makeover. And so you go to the healthyamerican.org, you click on products and classes, and you'll see many of you were with me live. And here it is, the Mind Body Makeover webinar. And you asked me about my change in appearance, my change in energy, my change in surroundings. You wanted to know about my makeup and my shampoo and my skincare and my exercise and my food and all of that. You were asking me questions. So I realized that not everybody on the public platform wanted to know all those personal details. So I decided to do this private class, and it ended up, I think it was almost 3 hours. So I recorded that live. A lot of you were on the class, and then I have it there still available for those who are interested. But what I want to show you in addition to that, so that's my mind body makeover. You can see that's $19. And I thank you for your support. People have asked me if they can donate to the cause, and I really appreciate it, but I like to give you something in exchange for that value. I know there are a lot of creators and, freedom fighters out there that people donate to, and they donate because they believe in the work that they're doing, but I actually want to give you something in exchange. So that's why I've created a lot of these programs. Now, this program is a part of a larger bundle, as they call it. And I want to take you over there, and I will have a direct link for you below. So please use my link so I will be credited for sending you there. And this is the holistic. Oh, let me share my screen again so you can see it. I will leave a link for you at the end of the broadcast. This is called the Holistic Health Bundle. And you get over 100 ebooks, courses, guides, kind of like what I did. Some of these are, little checklists that you can download. Some of them are video courses. Some of them are recipes, all kinds of things that you can get for your natural health, mentally, physically, spiritually. Now, some of you, let me know in a comment if you purchased this bundle last time I did it, but there are over 100 completely new resources that were added since the time I did it before. Now, you don't pay me, but you go to this link that I will have for you, and it's $50. You get my course, which is $19, and then you get over 100 other courses. Holistic nutrition, inner healing, homeopathy, mindset, detox, herbalism. Oh my gosh, it's just, there are so many programs here, and there are so many great testimonials from people. Here's one: best investment I ever made. I cannot wait to get my hands into it. This bundle came like a gift from God. Since purchasing it and having all this amazing information and knowledge available to me and my husband, we are so excited for our future. So you see, friends, this is part of what I was talking about. Have something to look forward to. Keep yourself educated, keep learning, keep connecting. And you are going to meet all of these different creators. Oh, this sounds really good. Healing Eats, 35 hearty and satisfying plant-based recipes for those of you that are interested in that. Ayurvedic healing, mitochondrial healing, 8 holistic health plans. I just think this looks fantastic. And listen, you don't need to be a hippie to take advantage. I'm not a hippie, although I kind of have my hippie surroundings here. I have participated in this bundle in the past. So many of you have benefited from it. So I wanted you to know what is available. And if you don't need that and you just want to take my course, that's available over at thehealthyamerican.org. But I wanted to contribute my course, my knowledge, my encouragement and empowerment to help you get through whatever it is you are going through. And I'm telling you, friends, you may not need a complete overhaul like I did for myself. I changed my hair, I changed my makeup, I changed my surroundings, my clothing, my outlook, how I sleep, what I eat, how I exercise. I had to get all of that back into my own reset so that I could continue to serve you and to serve God and to share the gifts that He has given me and to share them as intended. So I know I went a little long today, but I'm so grateful to have you on board. Always appreciate you. Remember, if you need any help with anything, you can email my assistant, Olivia, and the email address is support@thehealthyamerican.org. A big shout out to the moderators. Always great to have you on board. Remember, I stream live The Healthy American on YouTube at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's Monday through Friday. And for those of you that actually have donated to the cause, if you are a subscriber to my Substack, which is free, but some of you have gone for a paid subscription. All content is free to all readers, but that's a way that you can support me. And if you are, or if you support me through peggyhall.tv, you are invited to our monthly live Q&A webinar. And it's going to be this Saturday. That is at, again, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And I'm on with you along with Pastor David, and we take your questions live and we answer them. It is so much fun. All of those are recorded for you. If you're not sure if you're on the list or not, email my assistant there, Olivia, support at thehealthyamerican.org. And there's also a link where you can make a donation below. That is how I'm able to continue to bring you these videos. And I'm so grateful to have you on board. And I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming broadcast.